Okay, so I did Rapunzel, and this is the process work of her hair. I started off like straggly, but I didn't like it because it wasn't very flowy. So I decided to do moons, and they just like went back and forth. And I did yellow because it's blonde and I have blonde hair, and it also represents gold for the crown. So this is the process work of the prince and Rapunzel. Those are the eyes that like I officially went with, and then these are the process work for them, and then that was the second choice for the mouth, but I didn't like it. And then I did this green because I like it because it kind of reminds me of a medieval time, and it also like shows the nature of the woods and stuff. So this is the first scene. It's where like the father has to give the baby up to the sorcerer, and this is, and then this is the process work, just like showing how they've been made. And then this was the first step of it, but it doesn't really say much. So this is the final, and this is the baby, and this is the dad's arm, and he's like giving it away. And then this is the second one. This is where the prince like finds Rapunzel, and he's like looking up for her hair to be let down. And that's the castle over there. And then this is the final, and I added grass and stuff because she's like in the middle of this weird wood thing. And then this is the third scene, and it's like showing the prince coming towards Rapunzel after he's been lost in the woods forever. And then this is the final version of it, and his eyes aren't black this time because his eyes were like stabbed out or whatever. So his eyes are white for this one. And that's it. Okay. Do I put it in the thing?
For your first final scene, why did you choose just to put the dad's arm, not like the whole body?
Because I didn't really feel like he meant something in the story, but not so much that you need to emphasize him. The emphasis was more on the giving of the baby than him himself.
I guess why did you exclude the twins in the last slide and just keep it with the prince and Rapunzel?
Oh, because like it's mainly just because of those two. Like the twins aren't really important, I don't think. Like it's showing that Rapunzel, her hair was cut, and then he finally found her. So I feel like that was more important than the twins.
Well, I'm getting the impression that you really just kind of took the shortest possible route on a couple of things here. For one, the father's not important. There's lots of ways for him to be less important. And what's happening in that first scene, the action isn't just, oh, here, why don't you take this baby? I mean, this is a horrible moment. We have a little more tension in that slide, you know? And if you're just showing the father's back, that's understandable. But still, I don't think we have any way of really knowing that's the father's arm there without your telling us that.
So like, are you saying like putting him up front but his back to the...
You could do it any number of ways, but the scene needs to be, I mean, first of all, the witch is all on a straight plane, etc. She's not a very menacing witch or sorceress. She's got, she's got a pretty nasty streak if she's going to take away somebody's kid, right?
Yeah.
And I just think that you don't have much process work because I don't think you tried a lot of different things. So I think in that first scene, you definitely could try to make it more tense, etc. What about the other scenes? You have observations about the others? You are all responsible for participating here, and I have great fears we are going to have some visitors in this week, before the week's over. I want them to know you're all able to do this.
Why, in the second final scene, why did you choose to have the brick white?
Oh, just because like, it wouldn't, like the gold or the yellow was the hair and the green was here, and I feel like the black would have been too much, so it's fine.
Why didn't you have trees in that scene?
I don't know, I didn't think about it.
What about those missing children in the last scene? Why are they important in the story?
Say, for the last slide, I was thinking, because you needed to have the children, and it's because like, kind of shows that, I guess, I mean, the two were like going to be married and that they're going to have kids together. I mean, it's very important because, I mean, he's the dad and he's discovered his lost family. Kind of not only emphasizes, I guess, the relationship that they have, but also the kind of like joy that there was in that moment of them finding each other. Kind of emphasizes it more.
Yes, and it also lets us know the passage of time that has taken place here, how long their suffering has gone on. This version of this story in particular, I think is one of the ones that has prolonged sadness to it. There's the mother and the whole business of giving up the baby is a very sad thing. This young girl being locked away in the tower is a very, very sad thing. The prince comes, represents hope, and then there's another whole tragic time where he's injured and she has to have the children and make her life without him. And okay, her hair, Rapunzel's hair, is usually represented as gold. But when you choose the other pale green there, green is a very life-giving color, as opposed to some that could represent something, make the pictures a little sadder, because it's not a happy time for the most part. So, anybody else have any suggestions or points that you want to make about this?
So maybe you could change the green to like a brown, maybe, because it's a little sadder, but it also can get across your point of like that medieval time thing.
And there is a possibility too, maybe, there are other options or two. You might want to do it in some kind of a blue that isn't bright. What about, the question was, why is the second slide so white there? One of the problems with yellow is always that you want things around it, either faint outlines or something that will give it a little more definition. So if that area around there had something behind it, I think we would see Rapunzel's hair a little bit better there. Anyone else?
In the second slide, there is a little bit of open space, but you could probably fill it up with like your forest that you have in the third slide. That might help.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Are those, Candace?